So we're going to start with the questions, and we're going to start with Representative Zwiener first. Her first question is, what challenges are looming from the Texas legislature on the LGBTQIA issues?
Thank you so much, Vanessa. And before I get into that, can we just take a moment to appreciate an all-woman panel?
Yeah.
Woo-woo! I'm very honored to share the stage with these ladies, leaders, one and all. LGBTQIA issues face a lot of challenges in the state of Texas. I serve as secretary of the House LGBTQ caucus, and I'll start with just a little bit of good news. The year before I was elected, there were 2 out members in the Texas House. After the year I was elected, there were 5, so we had enough to start a caucus. And then we had the 2020 elections, and we elected Ann Johnson, who many of y'all have come to know well from her role in the impeachment, and we had 6. And then this last election cycle, we had 1 leave, but we elected 4 more, so we now have 9 out LGBTQ members in the Texas legislature. And that's a big deal because, as y'all know, if you aren't at the table, you are on the menu. And what we're doing up there in the Texas Capitol is we're trying to get ourselves off the menu. And we've had some success. We have killed more bills than have passed, but quite frankly, LGBTQIA Texans get attacked again and again and again. We are not alone in that. There have been attacks on women. There have been attacks on people of color, whether you're looking at voting rights or looking at attacks at diversity and equity programs in our schools. We have seen those attacks again and again and again. But LGBTQ attacks have been very persistent and heated. This past session, there were 2 particularly bad bills that passed. There's more, but the 2 I really want you to know about are SB 14, which is the ban for trans youth to be able to access gender-affirming care. And y'all, here's what I know, is if I'm ever having to make medical decisions about my daughter, I don't want the government to have a damn thing to do with it. I want to have that conversation with my partner, my family, other people I love and trust, and her medical providers. I don't want anybody else a part of that conversation. And the Texas legislature is getting in the way of treatments that are supported by the American Academy of Pediatrics and treatments that quite frankly save lives and decisions that should be left to families. That bill was just held up by a state district court. Unfortunately, the Attorney General immediately appealed that bill. So right now, the injunction is not in effect until it works through that appeal process. But we remain hopeful that that bill will fall. The other big one I want you to know about is SB 12, which is the drag ban. Y'all, this is maybe the worst written bill I've seen in the Texas legislature, which is a pretty big competition. In addition to trying to ban drag, it also effectively bans the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, among many other things. And I think we should all be aware of that because these are big attacks on freedom of speech. And while the LGBTQ community is affected by this, it also hurts all of us. And we need to quit letting the LGBTQ community be a way for Texas Republicans to distract from their failures on the grid, their failures on healthcare, and their failures in public education.
Thank you. So this question is to Erin. How has the assault on trans health care combined with the overall shortage of mental health care services affected the LGBTQIA community? And then think about it from our county perspective.
Thank you so much, Vanessa, and my apologies. I'm going to go rogue for just a second. I really want to highlight something Robin mentioned, which is that the bill to raise the age for the purchase of semi-automatic long guns passed out of committee in the House. And that was a huge deal. I mean, we are all still heartbroken that the GOP can't even pick up that incredibly sensible policy and run with it. But it is a big deal that 2 GOP members of that committee, Representative Sam Harless and Representative Justin Holland, voted for that bill. That was huge. And I remember talking to one of them after and being like, wow, I'm really surprised, thank you. And he just said it was the right thing to do. And the reason those folks have heard enough to have that courage to take a vote that I guarantee you they're getting beat up for right now, is because of the advocacy of Moms Demand Action. So please give them a round of applause for moving the needle forward on that issue. It's critical.
Your question.
The other thing I want to say that really unites all of us as a group is, y'all, our issues are popular with the voters. LGBTQ rights are popular with Texas voters. Reproductive freedom is popular with Texas voters. Supporting our public schools is popular with Texas voters. And common sense gun safety is popular with Texas voters. The majority of Texans are with us on these issues. I know I've knocked on thousands of doors in this county and had conversations with people on this issue. So these are all conversations that I want to challenge each and every one of you to lean into. Now, to very briefly answer your question, since I know I'm running out of time, I want to really challenge everyone to make sure you are being the most affirming person you can be for the LGBTQIA plus community. You know, first of all, you never know what young person in your life might be questioning their sexual orientation or their gender identity right now. You know, when I was 16, I came out as bisexual to one friend. I didn't come out to anybody else for a decade. And that was because I knew it was something that would make my family incredibly uncomfortable. As I was an adult living further away from home, I knew I was working in an industry and in a place that wouldn't look kindly upon it, and so I stayed quiet. But that act of staying quiet takes a toll. We have people in the Texas legislature whose goal right now is to keep LGBTQIA plus youth quiet. That is what they are trying to do. They are trying to scare them into silence and make them stay in the closet. So I want to challenge everybody here to think about what you can do to make sure that the LGBTQ people you're not even aware of right now feel safe to be their true, authentic selves around you and in their community.